And I always considered that the music was sent to me from a higher source. And you can't do that if you don't work at your craft, whatever it is. But if you work at your craft, then you're going to get sent some amazing stuff.
This is A Deeper Listen from KEXP. I'm Dusty Henry, in for Emily Fox. For decades, Beverly Glenn-Copeland's music went virtually unnoticed. He was born in Philadelphia in 1944 and began releasing music in 1970 with 2 self-titled records. The first called Beverly Copeland, and the second called Beverly Glenn-Copeland.
Look into my eyes, the color of anyhow. This season needs you now anyway. And I won't ask you when you're leaving, or how long you're planning to stay.
In 1980, he put out a short R&B record called At Last.
Brothers and sisters, who do we think we are? Oh, we are who we think we are. We are the morning star.
None of which would make a splash. But for a while, Glenn, he goes by Glenn, just accepted this as predestined. In a 2018 interview with The Guardian, Glenn said he, quote, was told when I was young that I would not be successful until I was very old. Undeterred, Glenn continued to make music and other artistic pursuits. He spent many years in children's entertainment. At one point, he was a writer on Sesame Street, and for 25 years, he was a featured actor on the Canadian kids show, Mr. Dress Up.
I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Beverly, and this is my friend Cucumber Bird. And I was wondering, do you think Cucumber Bird could keep company with Banana Bird?
Oh, I'm sure that he'd love to do that.
In 2002, Glenn started publicly identifying as a trans man. In 2004, he released his first album in 18 years, a fiercely experimental album called Primal Prayer, under the name Phoenix. It was music that brought him to his future wife, Elizabeth, though it took them both a while to realize it. They began a friendship that later turned into a romance in 2007. More on that later. Along the way, they forged a creative partnership that continues today, writing and performing music together, and they even once ran a children's theater school. But it was one of Glenn's older works that would change the course of his life and finally bring the attention he never had. You see, back in 1986, Glenn self-released a tape called Keyboard Fantasies. He made the record using only a Yamaha DX7 synthesizer, a Roland TR-707 drum machine, and his voice. He describes finding these instruments like having access to an entire orchestra.
Welcome to spring, the summer rain. Softly turn to sing again. Welcome the bud, the summer blooming flower.
Keyboard Fantasies was left in obscurity for years, like most of Glenn's other albums. But then in 2015, a Japanese collector named Ryota Masuko heard the album and asked Glenn if he could send over a few copies to Japan. He quickly went through all of Glenn's inventory. Through those sales, word of mouth, and YouTube, Glenn's music began to finally find the audience it deserves. The album was reissued by Canadian label Invisible City Editions in 2017, and later again by Transgressive Records. Ever since, fans have been rediscovering Glenn's music again and again.
Let it go now. It's okay. Let it come, let it take off.
excitement around Keyboard Fantasies drew even more attention to Glenn's other works. Suddenly, he was touring again. He was featured in The New Yorker, The New York Times, and publications all over the world. He's been remixed by everyone from Blood Orange to Bon Iver. In 2023, he released an acclaimed new album called The Ones Ahead, which saw him longlisted for the prestigious Polaris Prize.
I'm casting my life on the river as it tumbles along to the sea, on the river of stars to the giver. It's all of you, it's all of me.
In 2024, on another tour, Glenn announced that he'd been diagnosed with dementia. He and Elizabeth had decided that the remaining shows of that tour would be their final performances together. Yet Glenn's story is always filled with twists. Despite the diagnosis, late last year, he and Elizabeth announced a new album. It's called Laughter in Summer, out February 6th from Transgressive Records. The Glenn-Copelands are also performing a short string of dates across Canada, including a recent stop in Vancouver, BC on January 16th. The album is a mix of new material and new renditions of songs throughout Glenn's catalog. Husband and wife sing together alongside a choir, tenderly espousing the values of love, the vision of a future through the eyes of children, and a message of hope and perseverance. Ahead of their performance in Vancouver, I was able to speak with the couple about the new album, the decision to get back on the road, and the love that radiates between them. Thank you, Glenn and Elizabeth, for talking with me today. I'm really excited to talk about your story and this gorgeous new record.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here with you, Dusty.
First of all, I wanted to thank you for the album. It's truly beautiful. One thought listening to it was, to me, it felt like a love story.
Yes.
Could you talk about the idea of love and how it translates through this music?
So, one of the songs on the album, Prince Caspian's Dream, features a song that took Glenn, I think, almost 30 years to write. Mm-hmm. And the lyric is, life is a part of love, right? Most people might think love is a part of life, but it's that density of Glenn's poetry, which is so beautiful. So love, as it translates into the album, I'm just trying not to get too heady here.
Get as heady as you feel like, dear. Don't worry about it.
Glenn and I really feel like love is a verb, and love is fierce. Love is not some little fluffy feeling. Love takes courage. We think that love and music are the building blocks of the universe.
People fall in love and they go, oh, we're so in love. And they are whatever that is. But I think real love in a couple, I can speak to it about other things too, but in a couple requires a dedication over a long period of time because inevitably things are going to come up.
Glenn and I often talk about the ebbs and flows of our love story. There are the periods of times when it was easy and beautiful and light and whimsical, and the periods of time it was dead hard. So we can think of that in terms of being a couple. We can think of it in terms of creativity, that sometimes the commitment to be creative requires just a dead hard commitment to hang in. And we can think about it in terms of the larger issues of what's happening on the planet right now, what's happening politically, socially, with the climate. It requires a dead hard commitment of love.
The love between you two feels so much in the music. Elizabeth, I read that you first saw Glenn sing when you were 19. Can you tell me about that moment you first saw Glenn?
The famous first time.
Yeah, but I'm just going to interject a small thing. Glenn and I really learned what the power of our love was for other people. I mean, I think we kind of knew it from each other. But it was in 2019, we were doing a show at Luminato in Toronto with the Queer Songbook Orchestra. And many of the members of the orchestra and the audience members, it was like, oh my God, the two of you individually are incredible, but it's almost like 1 + 1 = 13. Right? So that is the power of love. Again, not just in relationship partnerships, but love in community. Our combined energies create way more than we can individually. But we didn't really get that until 2019. It was like, oh, wow. There's something about the two of you together. And it was like, oh, we hadn't really realized that. So
Yeah.
And that's all I know. Don't you know that you're the best, shining out above the rest?
at age 19, I was out with my friend Marianne. We were walking around Toronto and we decided to go have dinner at the Groaning Board Cafe. It was on Jarvis Street. And we walked in and there was this sort of, it was very unclear what the gender was of this human. And this is a long time ago. This was in times when most people, it was quite obvious what their gender choice was. There was this person up there in a black not pantsuit, sweatsuit.
Sweatsuit, yeah.
That was Glenn's favorite outfit back in those days. Sweatsuits and Birkenstocks. And he was up there sitting on the stage in front of an upright piano, playing and singing, and the quality of the music and the quality of the voice, it was so profound.
Look into my eyes, the color of anyhow. Their season needs you now. Anyway.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw him. I didn't meet him then. I didn't meet him until 1992. But when I was pregnant with my daughter, somebody gave me a tape and said, "Oh, have you heard of Beverly Glenn-Copeland?" And I listened to that music while my daughter gestated inside of me. So it was pretty amazing.
I'm glad, darling.
I think the universe was trying to get us together for quite some time.
A long time it was trying hard. But
do you remember those days when you used to play and sing and not really
totally
care too much about the audience?
I couldn't care less. I used to, I played a 6 and a 12 string at one point, right? And every single piece, because I never learned to play the guitar, period, you know? So I just would take the guitar, but I would retune everything to some weird tuning that worked for me. But retuning a 12 string takes 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And retuning the other one, right? So people used to go out for lunch or something in between the songs, right? I was happy there was an audience, but the most important thing for me was to sing the piece, right? And I always considered that the music that I, quote, wrote, unquote, was sent to me from a higher source. And you can't do that if you don't work at your craft, whatever it is. But if you work at your craft and there's something special about whatever it is that you're doing, then you're going to get sent some amazing stuff.
This house is a ghost house where your spirit moves about. In agony all through my mind, because your body cancelled out.
I listened to 4 records for probably 5 years only. Only 5 years, just those 4 records, right?
So it was Marvin Gaye, so it was What's Going On.
Yeah, What's Going On.
Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on.
The Carole King album,
Yeah.
Tapestry.
You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, yeah.
Oh, Dolly Parton? Oh, my goodness gracious me.
And I will always love you.
In the years before he was rediscovered, I was furious that nobody was listening to his music. So sometimes I'd get on the phone and I'd call, music producers and promoters, and I say, have you listened to this music? Have you heard Primal Prayer?
And I work all day and night. I wonder if I'm ever gonna get it right. I push and I push to get ahead. I know I gotta make my daily bread.
And they would go, oh, we just don't know where to put it. And they'd hang up the phone. And then once he was discovered, those same people were showing up slathering at the concerts. And it's like, you don't remember the conversation you had with me 5 years ago, do you?
Right.
I just love this music. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Folks change.
Yeah.
We all change, 5 years can make a big difference in somebody's perspective.
One thing you mentioned earlier, Elizabeth, was how your voices, it's like 1 + 1 = 13, how the combination of your voices together. I felt that too. What do you both feel when you're singing together? Do you feel that magic happening?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Totally.
it's the most amazing gift for us right now, particularly, to be able to sing together. It's interesting. One of the interesting things about Glenn's cognitive impairment is that he is the most present when he's with people he's known for decades or when we're making music together. So we get to share a kind of intimacy when we're singing together that we don't get to in other parts of our lives these days. And some of that is because of the impairment, not in spite of. So I know you don't mind if I tell this story.
Go for it, sweetheart.
So, Glenn...
Slathering out the side of my mouth.
Glenn was raised so he was brought up in classical music, very exacting. And I think the first few years we were together as a couple when we started gigging together. So I came up kind of in the jazz pop tradition as a singer, and I would, backphrase something or sing over the bar line or just shift a little bit just to kind of groove. And he'd stop me to go, no, Elizabeth, that's a dotted half note. Don't sing over the bar. There's a rest there for a reason. And so it took us several years for him to kind of go, oh, I actually kind of liked when you did that. But that was several years of like dead committed love, because that was hard. But then about a year and a half ago, it became harder and harder for Glenn to perform in the way that he had, that very exacting classical musician way. And we had been invited to do a big show at the Brooklyn Academy of Music. And he said, oh, I can't do it the way I used to. And I said, let's just improvise. Let's just play. And he said, no, I can't do that, Elizabeth. You're the improviser. I can't improvise. And Glenn and I ran a theater school for almost 10 years. Not many people know about that time of our lives, but we played a lot of theater games and did a lot of improv with intergenerational community. And I said, you were so great at improv with the theater school. And he said, yeah, but that's different. It's acting. It's like, nope, same premise. You just kind of relax, you listen, you say yes to ideas and just make stuff up. So we went onto the stage and he was quite nervous. I said, just make something up for Deep River. And then when we get to the Bridge of Harbor, we're just going to make some things up. Just trust me. Hold my hand. Trust me. Look at me. I've got your back. Alex, our music director, Alex is here. He's got us both. And Glenn improvised, and he has not stopped. Now he's like nonstop improvising.
Improvising was like going into jazz, right? I mean, it wasn't literally like, but it had that same vibe. And I had been raised in absolutely strict classical music, right? Don't suddenly improvise on Brahms, whatever it is. My father played classical piano as his avocation, right? And so he was really, really good. We had a Steinway grand in our home, right? And he was fabulous at what he did, right? And I would listen to that and I think, eek. I don't think I can do it like that, right? But I did understand, from how he did things, that if it's written this way, then you play it that way. My mother could read anything, and she and I would sit together and we, sing along, blah, 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 which amazed me. But my parents had an incredible record collection, which had everybody, every race, everything in it. And there was a lot of things going on. There was improvisation. I was learning about that concept, but I just wasn't applying it to myself yet.
All I know, 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 all I know.
I did want to ask, when the news came out about your diagnosis, Glenn, it didn't seem like we would see the two of you perform again. Mm-hmm. What led to the decision to getting back on the road and making music again?
So we did that last tour. We did Montreal Pops and some shows in New York and upstate New York. And we went home, and because much of the medical advice we'd been given is that Glenn is going to, have a longer life. There's more of his cognition. If his life is very regimented, very routine. And I think we got home at the end of October, and then you went to New York to get the Sage Award. That's what I remember. And then January, we were going to settle into our new routine life. I think around February, we were sitting on the couch together, and Glenn turned to me and he said, I know this is supposed to be better for my health, but I just don't feel like we're having a life. Like, I have so much yet to give. There's places I want to see. There's things I want to do. So then we thought, okay, we just have to find a way to go out and be on the road. It's different than, what we did before. We have to have lots of space between shows, and we have lots of helpers that we bring with us. Mm-hmm. But it's so alive. It so meets like Glenn and I are quite mission based in our art. Like we came here to make whatever difference we can. Mm-hmm. And to be on a stage and to be able to do that and to hear, especially young people say, oh, this is the first time I felt any measure of hope. I feel lighter. I feel connected with other people, because the culture wants to keep us all in our little individual silos where we have no power. Our power is in our connection with each other. So when we have an entire audience of people saying, oh, for the first time in a long time, I feel connected with other people.
Yeah, that's quite something.
It just has made it makes a difference for us, right? Because then we're part of the circle. So we're still involved in the circle.
Yeah, and Elizabeth is really good with audiences because she starts them doing rounds and things where they have to relate to each other. She'll tell them, okay, now this song goes like this. And so now so half of the audience is going to sing this song. The other half of the audience is going to send them all kinds of love and good vibes that it's going to be.
Don't give it all away. It's okay.
Spoiler.
Well, anyway, she manages to make bring the audience as part of the concert, right?
Because we do really believe that, and this is not fluffy, we do really believe that we are in a kind of time of parentheses where one age is ending, and it needs to end because it's based in violence. Mm-hmm. But it's not a pretty ending. It's not a nice ending. It's not a happy ending. No. But it does need to come to an end. So then the world that wants to be born, which is a world of justice for all living beings,
and community
can be born. And that's how human beings came up. From an evolutionary perspective, we would have never survived if we'd been just in it for me. We wouldn't have. Mm-hmm. It's because of our big brains knowing that we're only as good as our connection with each other. That's where our power with is, not power over, but power with.
What's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on.
And that's what brought us together as artists when we became friends in 1992. Was like, oh, we both. This is what moves us both. Mm-hmm. I would produce a show for the Rape Crisis Center, and Glenn was producing a show for World Peace, and we started to play with each other, have fun, and be friends.
We were friends for many, 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 many years before we became a couple. The longest, knowing somebody for, probably 12 years or something.
Well, it was 92 that we met, and we didn't get together as a couple till 2007. That was after I'd had a dream about Glenn. Then I went after him.
Yeah. Hopeless.
I'm curious about this new album, Laughter in Summer. Where did the idea to do a new album, where did that come from, and what did you want the album to convey?
It's really interesting to both of us, and hopefully to your listeners too, that this didn't start out as an idea for an album. We had been booked to do that last tour. We're going to Montreal Pops, and our music director, Alex, knows that Glenn has always had a longing to work with a choir. So since this was going to be the last tour, Alex, he's so brilliant, put together a choir of people, and he did a little rehearsal with them. And then we were coming to Montreal, and Howard from the studio Hotel to Tango said, I just love Beverly Glenn-Copeland's music. Will you please let him know that when he's here, you and your team you can have the studio for 2 days.
Wow.
So we went in just for archival purposes to record the songs with the choir, who we had never met or rehearsed with. So we went into the studio, and Glenn only does one take of everything. The only reason that there's two versions of Let Us Dance on the album is that the version that ends the album was actually when the tech guy was setting up the microphones.
Oh, wow.
So that was a sound check. So every song you hear on that album is one take. We had to do very little, fiddling with it afterwards. Mm-hmm. But we thought we were just doing it for archival purposes. And then we sat down and listened, and Tim from our album said, this is gorgeous. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this. And then we listened and we thought, this is actually an album. Mm. And how the pieces came together in the way that they do feel like a love letter between the two of us is quite amazing.
It is. It's quite a wonderful experience, especially having a choir.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth said, now just relax. This is what she always says. Whenever I'm going to, what if they don't, what if, whatever. She said, just relax and go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
And I did. I managed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was fabulous.
But he was his inimitable, he can be a little bit bossy sometimes, because the quality of his musicianship is so fine, right? So this choir, they had never met Glenn before. So we're in there doing what we thought would be a rehearsal take of Ever New. And they're all verklempt being in the, oh my God, we're here with Beverly Glenn-Copeland, and they're crying before they've even started singing.
And I didn't know any of this.
And so then we sing the song once, and Glenn goes, okay, that was a great take. Next song. And all of the people in the choir was like, no, that was just a rehearsal. No, I'm a one-take person.
Wow.
And off we went. So everything was just one take. What I love about that is that because more and more musicians are relying on auto-tune and God forbid AI and cutting and pasting, there is a level of craft to be able to go into a studio and just that's the take. And of course, that's what we remember from our youth, right? There was a lot more things where, the Beatles did that in one take. And you hear the little mistakes, but that's part of the music, right? Yeah. It doesn't have that perfection.
Nobody hears the mistakes unless they're being incredibly critical, because the energy is so beautiful. I mean, I'm talking about in those things that I was listening to that weren't mine, right?
Yes.
The energy was just, I didn't hear any mistakes because I was too busy going,
Exactly. I have a quick personal aside before we get to the question. I'll split it up. When my daughter was born about 4 years ago, one of our DJs played a cover of Ever New by Angemile and dedicated it to my daughter.
We are ever new. We are ever new.
That is Angemile. The song is Ever New. You know what's new? Well, obviously there's new music, but also babies. And Dusty and Kristen Henry welcoming into the world this week their firstborn, Una Henry.
Your music's been a part of her life since the beginning. And just hearing you both sing about children on the record, just like it really resonates so much. So first, just want to say thank you for that gift.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you for telling us that, that you were able to use that during a birthing situation.
I think Glenn and I are going to put it in our living wills that it be played on our way out.
Right. Will I even recognize it? Music is something that you do recognize. It's a different part of the brain,
Totally.
So you might not remember your own name, but music is, yeah.
Music is eternal.
It is.
Which leads me to a question. Like, you do mention children come up a lot on this album and the songs. Of course, Children's Anthem.
Blessings on our precious children, may they grow both strong and free. Blessings on the hands that hold and guide them to what they might be.
Tell me about why this idea of speaking to children was so important to emphasize on the album.
So when we came together, there was this shared love of mission, of making the world, doing what we can to, for lack of a better phrase, make the world a better place. But also we both have decades of working with children. When we were out in the East Coast, we had a theater school and we did a lot of work with children who were differently abled. Some of them had learning disabilities. Some of them had Down syndrome. And we think so much of the stuff that goes out for children is really schlocky and sappy. And we don't agree sometimes that it helps children become the best of who they can be. When the storytelling is too sappy, it doesn't, because kids know that something is not right.
You do.
Like we did projects with kids that were like 4 and 5 who knew that something is really not right, and that it's more than just about recycling their plastic bottles. And they needed a voice for that, a place for them to voice that without it becoming a place of despair. But when you really speak about something and enliven it through music and drumming and dancing and storytelling, and we do believe as elders that's part of what we're here to do.
Totally.
Is to speak with and to and for.
To speak, to understand that children need challenges that are real, right? But that in the doing of the challenge, there's no perfection, right? It has to be perfect. It just has to be something that they'll take on and see what comes of it for themselves, right?
So in our theater school, we had a real focus on play, because we don't think that kids get to just play. There's just too much that's scheduled. So when children aren't allowed to play, it's hard for them to figure out how to make their own decisions, how to deal with anything that feels conflictual. So how do we make a play together through playing? How do we acknowledge everybody's strengths? Like we had some issues with some of the parents in our theater school who were like, why isn't my son singing more solos? He has a better voice than, and it's like, no.
Sorry, that's not what this is about.
Theater is an ensemble art. It's about all of us together. And Glenn is so brilliant working with little kids.
I love working with little kids. That's kind of my favorite, because they're so imaginative.
Yeah, they haven't, usually by the time kids are 4 or 5, if they're following the guidance of dominant culture, they start to learn how to not trust that part of themselves. But we all have that in us. So I don't know if you've seen Caring Cabin. Caring Cabin is the pilot of the TV show that we made for little kids. It's on Criterion Channel. Yes, we're still shopping it, but it's beautiful. So if you get a chance, have a look.
Have you ever noticed when you're really missing someone, that it's often true that they are missing you?
I would love to talk about the title track, Laughter in Summer. Could you tell me about that song and writing it?
So Glenn wrote the chord progression for that at our friend Heather and Dave's house. They live up near Georgian Bay.
And the melody.
And then it was that year that we received the fullness of the diagnosis, and Glenn had started to write a number of songs that just sitting at the piano and just improvising. And so he said, honey, I've got a new album here. It's called Songs with No Words. So we are in the process of working on that one. What he said I want for people to listen and be able to go, what would my words be from my culture, from my experience, and then I said, well, since I'm your wife, do you mind if I write the first set of lyrics? And he said, no, he didn't mind. So we were up at the cottage. It was a beautiful summer day. So in this journey of walking Glenn home with this illness, there's both great beauty and great sorrow. And I was sitting, listening to the loons and just feeling that great beauty and great sorrow. And the words to that came.
Beautiful words.
Laughter in summer. How I remember June through September here with you.
I'm thrilled because Elizabeth was able to express her experience of my severe cognitive impairment, right? And it's quite moving.
Because a thing done well is done forever. I didn't say that. I think that was Henry David Thoreau. But I don't remember all my quotes anymore. But a thing done well is done forever. And I believe that Glenn has done so many things so well that his legacy will go on and on.
Absolutely. I agree.
Well, thank you to you both. I won't be around to know about it, but anyway, I'm happy if people still find some importance for their own lives in the pieces that I've written.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one question we always end our interviews on is what music, song, or artist, new or old, are you loving right now and is resonating with you right now?
We don't listen to a lot of new music. I'm opposed to so many of the streaming services are taking so much money from artists, and so we don't listen a lot. The piece that comes to mind for me is Samuel Barber's Adagio for Strings. I listen to that a lot right now. It holds all of what I've been talking about here in terms of the magnificent beauty of all of this and the searing pain of it all. It has that, as a lot of your music does too, right? It can hold the vastness of something. So, and it's Leonard Bernstein, is particular.
There's an opera singer who's my favorite.
Renee Fleming.
Renee Fleming. Despite the fact that all females have to die in operas. I don't know if you know that, but they do. In all the classical operas, all the females die.
Well, not all of them, but the lead one. Yes.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The lead,
Yes.
the lead singer end up having to die. But she sings one song that is utterly, every time I hear it, and I hear it many times, it reduces me to tears. It's so incredibly beautiful. Just astonishing.
But we can't remember the title right now.
I don't remember the title right now, and I realize I have it in there, but I don't have the title of the ones that I like the most. But it's an opera piece. It's one of her pieces.
appreciate you both taking this time. And again, for all the years of amazing, beautiful music. I'm grateful for this album and this tour. Thank you both. If there's anything else you want to share or say, the floor is yours, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for the time.
Well, there is one thing I want to share. You're very sensitive and very present. And it's very easy to have an interview with you.
A fun conversation.
And a fun conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot.